Sure. Thanks for doing this. Sorry, I struggled with my mute button there, but obviously this was seemed like a big decision for you and a big development in your career. What went into the decision ultimately to accept the call up and go play for the United States?
Yeah, it was a long process. First of all, it was by far an easy decision. It took time, and I think the one thing I went with was at the end of my career, I just didn't want to regret anything. And I knew the U.S. was gonna be more of a process, a long-term process. And that's just who I am. That's just kind of what I feel familiar with is working towards something and growing into something. So I feel like that was more familiar with me, and so yeah.
You mentioned not wanting to regret anything. Was that your top factor, or did you look? I guess maybe what are some of the other things that were important to you as you try to make such a big decision that can shape where your career does end up going?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a big one. Also, I think any decision in life as well is just your heart and where's your heart's at. Um, and I think in 2026, hopefully, I'll be in the World Cup and I'll be listening to a national anthem. And I just think that my heart kind of felt more comfortable and more shaped towards the U.S. than Canada. And that's no disrespect towards Canada. It's just where I've grown up and something I've been working towards my whole life. So yeah.
What sort of can you say anything about like maybe the pitch that either side might have presented, or as far as like maybe how valued you felt that each side was viewing you?
Yeah, I mean, I think from an outsider point of view, you look at the depth charts and you can kind of see the difference. But a lot of respect to Canada. I mean, they've been amazing with me. I've had amazing conversations with John. He's an awesome guy, and the whole entire staff. And even a lot of the players reached out to me, and I can't give a big enough thanks to all those people involved in that and the whole entire Canadian Soccer Federation. But yeah, no, it's just I think it's simple. It's just where my heart was at and where I landed, and talking to my family and everything. I just felt like that's where I need to be.
Thanks. We'll go to Patrick, then Justin.
Aidan, you mentioned where your heart was at. I have to imagine as a kid growing up, be it in Florida or when you moved here, the vision was the United States, right? I mean, Canada seems like a thing that would have been a secondary option if this didn't work. Am I reading that scenario correctly?
I don't think it was a first or secondary. I mean, when you look at both those teams, they're both in the World Cup. They both showcase who they are really well in the World Cup. But yeah, in terms of where I grew up and where I lived growing up, yeah, I think that's the obvious. But yeah.
And obviously, I know you're thinking long term here, but in the immediate, U.S. is still looking for a coach. Canada's situation seems to be a little bit more cemented. Did that play at all into it when you were considering the Canadian side of things, that there is something currently in place and you know the direction that they're going?
No, not really, if I'm being honest. I think hopefully in my career I played till I'm late 30s, so that's kind of more short-term thinking. I think it was more bigger picture when it came to perspective and how I'm going to go about it. Yeah, the U.S. is working on finding a job right now for a head coach, and that's just right now. They'll have one for the World Cup. They'll have one for the next 3 World Cups, and hopefully I'm part of all of them. So yeah.
And shifting gears back to the club situation, we were talking to Coach Nancy and Mo about playing in New York City. I know you're one of the guys that has played on that field. What is the biggest challenge? Obviously, we know about the size of the field, but maybe some of the things that as a player you noticed that maybe watching on TV or watching from the stands you wouldn't. I've heard guys talk about the sight lines and things like that before. What have you noticed when you've played there?
I try not to dwell on the things that are out of my control. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously not ideal. There's nothing to complain about it. They play there as well. We're going to be playing against 11 other guys, so obviously it's not ideal, like I just said. But we got to do what we got to do. There's a job to be done, and yeah, that's what we're going to focus on.
And last thing for me, just I'd ask Mo, but your reaction to what Lucas did to end that game on Saturday night. We've heard from some of the other guys, but I'm curious, you being the guy who kind of got him the ball there, what did you think as he took the shot and as you saw it go in?
Yeah. Unbelievable pass by me, by the way. That was crazy. Yeah, I was, for me, I don't really smile a lot when we score because I know there's still time on the clock, but I just had to take that one, and that was crazy. And, that's Lucas for you. Every now and then you just see some magic. And that was just one of those moments. It kind of takes your breath away for a second. You kind of have to check to see if it's real or like you're not dreaming or something. But yeah, he's a special player, and that's why he's our number 10. And yeah, it was an awesome experience. Hopefully a couple more of those would be awesome.
Thanks, Pat. We'll go Justin and then Adam. Do you want to close us out? Or Justin, are you good? We'll jump to Adam. Adam, go ahead, and then Justin, if you have a question after, let us know.
Thank you. And I wanted to ask you also about the crew and the fact that you guys are at the midpoint of the season. Just you've obviously been on a pretty good run here lately. What do you like about where you sit at the midway point, and what do you think about the potential in the second half to continue to get better?
Yeah, I think we're happy where we are. Coach says it's a lot. It's a process. And, we went on a tough little stretch where we went through a few games we weren't doing too well, and now we're 3 games winning streak. So, there's ebbs and flows to it all, but I think it's important to keep your highs low and your lows high. To kind of stay in that middle ground, I think is important. And I think we're happy where we are. We know we could be better. There's always stuff to improve on. Yeah, I think we're just going to keep pushing and, see where it goes and control what we can control.
And then, just bigger league-wide picture, but the Messi signing with MLS, I just wonder what that's like. What you think about something like that? What does adding a player like that do to the league?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's Messi, man. It's just simple like that. He's a special figure for all of, not just soccer, but the whole entire world of sports. And to have a guy like this playing in the same league we are, it'll be a unique experience for sure. And yeah, it'll change the league for sure in terms of bringing more attraction and attention to the MLS. Hopefully I'll get to play against him here soon. That'd be cool.
Thanks, Adam. Justin. Oh, so sorry. Justin, you want to
No, that's okay. Yeah, you got me now?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, Aidan, I'm just curious what you're hoping to get out of this Gold Cup experience. Obviously, the decision is made, so now moving on, what do you hope to get out of that experience as you look ahead to what you said, 2026 and the rest of your career on the national stage?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think gain experience. I think, the MLS, I had a process into gaining experience and understand how the league works, and all that. And I think this is the same thing. International football is a little bit different in terms of speed of play and everything. And it's that. It's like learning from these games I'm going to play and, expressing the things I'm learning here on the daily basis and trying to implement them there. And, and the most important thing is representing your country and representing them well. I'm excited for him, excited to learn, and yeah. Go ahead.
Does this make Coach Nancy a rival now, the Canadian nationality and the French nationality?
No, man. No, not at all. He's always teammate in here, I hope. So.
Appreciate the time.
Of course. Thank you.